Bitcoin is worthless artificial gold.
Not bullish on Bitcoin.
In terms of cryptocurrencies generally, I can say almost with certainty that they will come to a bad ending.
The world's richest man now investing $1.5 billion worth of his company's money in the cryptocurrency.
Bitcoin is an asset. It goes up and down.
Former PayPal CEO Bill Harris called the cryptocurrency, quote, the greatest scam in history.
Cryptocurrency has become an industry worth billions of dollars, and not to mention Bitcoin, which has grown magnificently since its creation in 2008, and its creator, an individual or a group of individuals under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto, who reportedly owns 1 million Bitcoin, which, in the time of making this video, makes him worth over $35 billion. And theoretically, if the price of one single Bitcoin rises to $190,000, then Nakamoto could be the richest person in the world. But what exactly is cryptocurrency? How it was created? How does it work? Let's find out. To understand the story of cryptocurrency, let's go back in time, and you will find that our ancestors purchased goods using barter, a system that involves the exchange of goods for other goods without the use of any medium of exchange, like a dozen eggs for a slice of bread, vegetables for some milk, etc. But this system relied on the need for double coincidence of want, meaning that both the parties have to agree to sell and buy each commodity. So our ancestors realized that we must have a medium of exchange to serve as the value of the item they wanted to buy, like attractive items such as cowrie shells or beads, and ultimately coins made of gold, silver and other valuable metals. Then years later, countries started to use paper money, which has a value directly linked to gold. That is, the dollar would be linked by a fixed amount of gold. This system was known as the gold standard. However, in 1971, the US government officially left the gold standard in company with many other countries. It means that the dollar would no longer be linked to gold. Rather, it would be linked with the value that the government declared it has. By doing this, it allowed governments to have more control over the money supply and the banking system. This type of money that we use today, that is no longer linked to gold, but rather our trust in government, is known as fiat money. The important thing to realize here is that this system relies on our trust in governments. But what if you don't have that trust? Cypherpunks have been engaged in an active movement since the late 1980s. Most were passionately opposed to various government attempts to limit cryptography. They were mainly against centralized authorities like banks and governments that had enough power to be able to keep an eye on people. They encouraged for what is known as cryptography, practice and study of techniques for secure communication in the presence of third party through the use of codes and encryption. The goal of cypherpunk movement is cryptography to be accepted by the larger community. They stated the more decentralized user, the better, because when they looked at banks or central banks, they saw centralized institutions being able to print as much money as they wanted on their terms and conditions, and we, the society, put our money in banks and trust our banking institutions that they won't plunder it and someday crash. But cypherpunks knew it would happen.
Lehman Brothers is going bankrupt, and financial markets from Asia to Europe are doing their utmost to prevent Monday from turning from dark to black.
Brought down by bad mortgage investments, Lehman, which has 25,000 employees, will be liquidated.
It is definitely a very, very difficult time, and it's not going to get better quickly.
This is an extraordinary period for America's economy. Major financial institutions have teetered on the edge of collapse, and some have failed. We are in the midst of a serious financial crisis.
The domain name bitcoin.org was registered on 18th of August 2008 during the Great Recession of 2007 and 2008 that occurred because of the failure of major financial institutions globally that caused major banks going bankrupt, such as Lehman Brothers, Washington Mutual, IndyMac Bancorp, etc. And on 31st October 2008, a link to a paper authored by Satoshi Nakamoto titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was posted to a cryptography mailing list. Nakamoto stated a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. Nakamoto created a structure implementing advanced mathematics and computer science to create a currency that doesn't need any centralized institution to trust. Now that we know the story behind its creation, let's understand what exactly is it and how it works. Cryptocurrency is a kind of digital money that is designed to be secure and in many cases anonymous. It is often termed as an asset or a commodity, digital gold, and even similar to real estate. It is a currency associated with the internet that uses cryptography, the process of converting legible information into an almost uncrackable code to track purchases and transfers. Transactions made by this system can never be faked or reversed. Cryptocurrency was born out of the need for secure communication, but it has evolved in the digital era to become a way to secure communications, information, and money online. Many people say cryptocurrencies are the way to solve the digital cash problem and helps to maintain integrity. Cryptocurrency uses decentralized technology to let users make secure payment and store money without the need to use their name or go through a bank or any financial institution. They run on a distributed public ledger called blockchain. A blockchain is a shared ledger that stores information about the transactions in a distributed manner. Each block references the previous one and contains data. A block stores encrypted details about the parties whose interaction resulted in the data stored in the block. Each block also has a hash. This hash is a value generated from a string of text using a mathematical function. A hash can also be compared to a fingerprint, as each hash is unique. Its role is to identify a block and the block's content. Once a block is created, a hash is calculated. Changing something inside the block causes the hash to change. So, a hash also indicates changes to a block. Also, each block contains a hash of the previous block. For instance, if there are 3 blocks in a blockchain, block 3 will contain the hash of block 2 and block 2 will contain the hash of block 1. If anyone changes the data in a single block, the hash of that particular block changes, but it also makes the whole chain invalid. A hash is a great tool for identifying attempts to change data in blocks. However, a hash algorithm alone is not enough to ensure the security of a blockchain. To mitigate attempts to corrupt the blockchain and to ensure security, blockchain technology also uses a process called proof of work. Proof of work is a process of solving mathematical problems. This mechanism can be compared to a game of dice. Let's say there's a specific number 9, for example, that a player needs to roll. Most likely, the player will need several attempts, but sooner or later, he'll get 9. Now, let's add more players to the game. Whoever rolls the correct number first wins. This is effectively how proof of work functions. The winner then uses the algorithm to confirm the transaction and creates a new block to the chain. The players are known as miners. They compete against each other to complete the transaction on the network. This process is called mining. Computers that form the blockchain network race to solve a mathematical problem and be the first to add the next block to the chain receive a reward of some Bitcoin, and that's how new Bitcoin is created. However, this involves a lot of computational power to solve complicated mathematical problems. Mathematical problems in a blockchain have to be hard to solve but easy to check in order to prevent cheating. Along with hashing and proof of work, a blockchain wallet also works to ensure the safety of transaction and prevent fraud. A wallet generates paired public and private keys that further ensure the security of transactions. A public key can be compared to a post box. Anyone can put a letter inside of it, but they can't get that letter back. Only a postal worker who also has a private key can open the post box and get the letter. This is similar to how keys within a blockchain work. Anyone can send a transaction using a public key to the address of a receiver, but only the owner of that address, who also has the private key, can access the value of the transaction. Anyone is allowed to join a blockchain peer-to-peer network. When someone joins a network, this person gets a full copy of the blockchain. Distributed storage of data accompanied by effective hashing and proof-of-work mechanism helps to prevent nearly any fraud. For instance, in order to add a block containing an invalid hash or invalid data, duplicate an existing block, or perform a fraudulent transaction, an attacker would have to hack the computer of every blockchain participant and slip in the invalid block. However, even if this was possible, none of the nodes would verify such a block. It would just be ignored as if it never existed in the first place. That's why most people say that it cannot be hacked. But there have been instances of exchanges or wallets being hacked, but not the entire system. So that's it for this video. We'll dive deeper into cryptocurrencies in the next part. The link for that will be in the description if it's out. However, if you want to learn about blockchain in detail, I'll put the link of a video in the description as well. If you find this video valuable or informative, do hit that like button and subscribe as well. It helps a lot. Share this video so that more people can know about cryptocurrency. Till the next video, stay tuned. Thank you.